Hello everyone, welcome back to Play Casket with your host, Rock the Goblin, and
Ghost, your co-host.
And this week we're gonna go ahead and hit the streets, quite literally, because we were trained that for a classic video game series that we're gonna go ahead and basically get a whole life on, which is Street Fighter.
Episode 45, Punching Roads.
So basically, for the most part, like, the reason why we're covering this now is I think it's actually a good time to kind of reflect back on a lot of Street Fighter. They just announced Street Fighter 6 with a little teaser a while back, and since then they just added a promotional characters for Brawlhalla. They also did a couple little other like cross promotions with Street Fighter stuff, and I think it's a good time to kind of look back at what it has been and what's to come. So
I've forgotten about that teaser. The teaser quotation air marks because it was a Street Fighter 6. That's it. Yeah.
Yep, it's a teaser. it's a tease. We know Street Fighter 6 is teasing Ryu versus the newest character Luke, which I'll break down at least a little bit into here in a bit.
They could have just done over a tweet though.
They could, but the hype is better in a video. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Tweeting a logo doesn't really work, especially if a logo looks so different like that. Like, what the hell? People would just shit on it entirely in of itself, though.
The shit on it now.
Why does it look like the Valve logo? So basically, Street Fighter Legacy. Like, what do you think about the Street Fighter as a legacy overall? Like the whole series as a whole.
I gotta applaud them for what they've given to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they were the ones who like popularized like the gauges and like the special gauges and all the specials and the weird canceling and the flashy moves. So I'll give them applause for that because it's a huge staple to what we have in most anime 2D fighting games.
Yeah.
Like
I think the gauges are now used kind of as a way to just have an excuse to go full bore anime and just have this like wacky over the top move that like you just sit down for 20 seconds and watch and like, yeah, that's a lot of flash, you know? Like it's ridiculous, but I think the gauges that when used properly was actually pretty nice. Where it did give you a nice hook up to it. But
I think it also falls back to the arcades and like casinos, because the flashier and cooler you can make it look as you're walking by, the more likely you'll drop a quarter in it. So.
Yeah, just see what's going on because you're hoping to find a character that looks cool and does really cool shit.
Yeah,
that's the reason why Guilty Gear is so favored now. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously it's not as popular, but it's like a lot of people love Guilty Gear for a lot of the reasons that don't really make sense, except for how flashy they are. Like they are. Like Guilty Gear is like hugely flashy, right? I think that's what it's
Bedman is like super cool. He's just a guy who fights on a bed.
Yeah, like it's so ridiculous, just ridiculous. So, but as far as my point on the legacy, I think it's actually kind of interesting to see that. I do think Street Fighter with Tekken, like kind of collectively, kind of made Evo in of itself, like. I don't think Evo would be what it is now without those two. Granted that it probably would have eventually gotten very popular somehow, somewhere, with how many fighting games are out there. Mm-hmm. But I really think like Evo and Street Fighter are like one and the same. Like you can only think of them that way, and I think that's why Sony really pushed for Street Fighter V to be exclusive to Sony as far as consoles go, because they see it as a big thing. But I'm not sure what's going on with that yet. We might actually see a multi-plat port in the future with that. Who knows?
Okay.
But for the most part, like, even combos happened because of Street Fighter's like buggy introductory to fighting games.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we totally did that. That was intentionally.
the move canceling. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. It's amazing to think about with the whole legacy. Right, for Street Fighter, but what about your personal opinion of Street Fighter? Like, you can commend something that you don't like, but what's your opinion of Street Fighter like on a personal level?
I suck at it, or at least like it's really hard.
So do I.
Well, because like I like Street Fighter or Street Fighter. The thing I like about Guilty Gear is it's less punishing on when you move. Whenever you do your moves and input your moves, it's less punishing compared to Street Fighter because, on top of them saying they put like extra lag in there. I don't know. It's not as like sticky, if that makes any sense. I don't know how else to explain it.
Gross.
Like, well, you don't stick like whenever you punch something, it pushes you further away. Mm-hmm. While in Guilty Gear, you stay neutral in your position for the most part when you're swinging. I think that's what it is because whenever in Street Fighter, if you juggle somebody, you move further as they move further back. I think that's what it is that I can't like quite get a good feel on. So you got to be super super close to chaining your combos. Guilty Gear, you kind of stay at a neutral space whenever you're swinging. So maybe that's what it is.
Maybe. But what about like your overall opinion? Like, is there good stuff that you kind of like enjoy out of it, even though you suck with it? Because I suck with it, and I actually still kind of enjoy Street Fighter for some casual stuff. Just
watching like the professionals play. Oh man, it's so fun to watch.
That's kind of crazy to watch. Like that's what one of the things I do enjoy is the just watching the competitive scene. It's insane to watch.
Yeah,
like. There's things that I'm sure a lot of competitors like they could see like it's kind of like watching chess. You know what I mean? Like how did he know that they were gonna do that? Like, but the chess players themselves, they knew like they already lost five moves back. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that are kind of like that you don't see as a observer, and I think that's really cool. You know? Yeah. But as far as my own personal opinion, like what I enjoy is I like playing it casually, like with other people who suck with it. Because that way we can suck together. That'd be great.
Well, I mean, playing with your friends, that's always like the best part.
Yes. So. And honestly, like, I think that's the reason why I play Smash Brothers a lot. I play that more casually as well as more because it's more enticing for a casual player. Than playing Street Fighter or fighting games because they're still intense even on a casual level. You're just like button mashing, hoping something happens, and you know, which then eventually becomes just stressful and not fun. So like a couple matches and that's last. But like with Smash Brothers and stuff, there's a lot more like craziness going on. We're like, okay, you know what, that was cool and it was fun, blah blah blah, whatever. But that's what I enjoy. Like I just enjoy playing that. I mean, we did a your turn not too long ago where we both really sucked at Samurai Showdown, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg of how bad I am at most fighting games. Yeah. So like I'm not really that great. I did play a little bit of 5, like not too competitively, but more seriously. I really enjoyed Rashid. Like he was a new character and he was entertaining. Oh, okay. Like I liked him, but for the most part, that is literally the extent of my serious playthrough with a game like that. But yeah, so, and like I used to, like one of my fondest memories is I used to just, like me and my brother would play E Honda and Blanca all the time because we knew how to spam the fucking moves. That was it. Like,
well, yeah, because like the issue I have with Street Fighter, even with sitting down and just trying to study it, I still can't quite get the combos down. I don't know why, because that's how I was able to learn how to play Tekken and Soul Calibur. Was I sat my ass down and I was like, okay, I'm gonna really learn how to play this.
I did something similar with F-Zero GX when I did that. I'd like really sat down and really like learned how to like really move in a lot of the harder levels and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, with Street Fighter, I'm like, I sat down and really studied it. I'm like, I just can't quite get it. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Like, I do think a lot of the characters are very like extravagant and stuff. I think that's why I enjoy it a lot because it's not as serious as Tekken. Like I can't enjoy Tekken. I can't enjoy Virtual Fighter. I can't enjoy I like Tekken Tag Tournament, but beyond that, then no. I don't. I can't. I suck with it. So, but any of your fond memories? Do you have any fond memories when you were a child?
Well, I remember like the first time I ever played it was with my cousins on the Super Nintendo. Yeah, and Chun-Li, man, she was like, oh, she made my heart quiver. Like,
you know, what's funny is, like, I don't think I had I don't think it was a realization of my puberty or anything like that, but, like, I had an affinity and, like, an attraction to Chun-Li, but I don't think it was like a sexual one. But I will say it was probably like Chun-Li that made me really like respect a woman who has some like really strong legs.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think that's the case. Like, but at the same time, I don't recall a time where I'm like, wow, to like Chun-Li, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like, she was gorgeous to me, but it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it was because I separated fact from fiction a little too hard sometimes, and like I'm able to decipher like, oh, it's because I like legs like that, and then I see legs on like a real woman, I'm like, crush me with that nonsense. But and I think that's the situation. And I agree. Like it was Chun-Li that kind of got me doing it too. Like it wasn't like Tomb Raider and stuff. I'm like, bitch, I already beat you there.
Yeah, waifu for life.
Like, so no, I agree with that. That was kind of an intro. That like I could see that. I could definitely see that. Basically, my fond memories, like I said, it was me and my brother constantly playing Blanca and E Honda, just going to town on one another. But let's take a look forward though. Like the state of the game now. What do you think the series is like right now?
Well, they're kind of stuck in between like a rock and a hard place, mostly because you have to balance between newbies, casuals, and then professional players. So you got to make it more inviting so that newbies want to jump in, but at the same time, like you can't turn off the professional players who really honed the last game. So they're kind of stuck between that, and because I remember the creator was saying he wanted to slow it down because it was like really like Twitch based skills rather than like trying to figure out what to do next, I guess.
Right.
So that's kind of why like they put that input lag in Street Fighter V, because if you're just really really fast and they can't react to it, you could just combo them to death.
And like almost every other anime styled fighting game is kind of like that right now.
Yeah, just
so
infinite combo to death.
This infinite combo to death, like race to that infinite combo, the cookie cutter ones that can add to that combo, and that's it.
Yeah. So
it feels very much like how Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was for a long time, where like how fast can you get to that combo? And it was only those select characters, blah blah blah. And I could see where he's coming from with that, honestly. Yeah. Like I do think a little slowdown, and I don't think lag. I do think some animations can be spread out a little bit more, so you can kind of anticipate what's going on and stuff like that, but more learn to what we should really move forward with. And I agree with that. Like I understand where he's coming from, because a lot of people are like, oh, like eventually it's going to move so fast that your viewers aren't going to see what's going on.
Yeah, but somebody who could react really really well will just combo you to death. Then.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Not have to worry about what
like,
to play next.
If anybody is watching, like watching as an observer, they're just going to be like, pow, 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 pow. Winner is John Judos. And then like, oh, yay. I'm like, dude, that lasted like 5 seconds. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
You know, like you don't, like, I think that's where a problem is like if you slow them down, it actually even allows a viewer to actually see what's going on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay. Like if it gets too fast, like how are people supposed to pay attention? Like think about it. Find any action game you've never played and just watch like a hard mode version of it and see if you can understand some of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I remember Total Biscuit was saying, I can't remember what game it was, but because they have such a huge viewer count was because you know what was going on. Like, even if you've never touched the game, you know who's winning and you know who's losing.
Yeah. And, like, you understand it quite a bit. That's why football is only very popular in Canada and the U.S. Because all the weird, like, lines of scrimmage and all this other, like, work, no one else knows that, really. Yeah. Like, so you don't get as much watching, you know?
Yeah.
And which, you know, even though football does move slowly, you can still process what's going on, you know? But if it moves so fast, you know, like, how are you supposed to know, you know? Like, speed checkers. How are you supposed to pay attention to that, you know? Like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And I could see where that's going on. I could see what that dude's trying to say, you know? So, my opinion, honestly, like, outside Evo, I'm not sure because and I think it's because of the exclusivity. I really don't know how popular Street Fighter is growing as a base.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the most part, you have a limited to the exclusive right now, plus the PC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's really hard to kind of gauge that. Where you have Mortal Kombat that's on every system, and it's the number one selling fighting game ever. That's more of a traditional fighting game.
Yeah.
Smash already crushed that, but we're talking about more traditional arcade style games.
Mm-hmm.
And Mortal Kombat 11 beat that because it was everywhere. So it's really hard to gauge how popular Street Fighter can be right now because there's less access.
Yeah.
You have to have a PlayStation 4 or you have to have a pretty decent PC to play Street Fighter 5 right now.
Yeah.
Which, makes it kind of hard. And if it's in the access, kind of would restrict what you can do with that game.
I know.
What I mean?
Capcom's probably just waiting for that thing to
exclusivity
to drop. Capcom
loves their ports. They're like, come on, man. I'm surprised they haven't satiated. I'm really messing up words today. Satiated the port craving by not just porting 4 again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just randomly porting 4, the Arcade Edition Plus, whatever. Just release it again. Because that just seems like something they'd do. But it seems to be, because of that, though, I do think EVO only feels like the only thing that cares about the franchise. Because outside that, unless you're a fan of Street Fighter playing on Smash again, outside that, I don't hear anybody get excited about Street Fighter anymore. It's either EVO pros or some people who like Smash Brothers.
Well, I heard 5, a lot of people weren't really happy with it, too. So that kind of, shot it in its foot, too.
Yeah, well, the thing is, 5 isn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't. Fundamentally, it really isn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually have some pretty unique new characters and stuff, too.
Okay.
Which is actually something I want to go ahead and segue into. Even though, one of my... I like a lot of the classic characters.
Mm-hmm.
I will always play Chun-Li. I was actually a really huge fan of Dhalsim. His kit kind of changed a little bit since then. I really like Crimson Viper from 4 too.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like some of the wacky characters, even though I'm not really good with them, such as Hakan and Blanca. I like them. I'm just not good with them. 5 plays really well. I will say that. 5 does play really well. I think some of the things is they took a lot of designs that felt very classic and traditional, and they aged them. Ken is now a dad, and he has this banana man bun thing going on, ponytail thing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird. And there was a point where Ken was so broken of a character that it was all that's all you played against people.
Like Fox.
Fox almost like that. Yeah, almost like that, legitimately. But that was a while ago. I don't know what's happened since then. But they did do 2 years worth of DLC, which is amazing for a game.
Mm-hmm.
They even added characters from rival schools and stuff like that, so from other games as well. But what was interesting is that our last character that they did before they even announced it was Luke. I think his name is McGuire or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Luke was their last character, but before they even showed him off, the director said that the final character is going to be a staple of what the future holds for Street Fighter going forward. So a lot of people were thinking, oh, this is probably going to be a new villain or new this, kind of lore-wise or something like that, something
Mm-hmm.
intense. And it turns out to be this egotistical, young MMA fighter, ex-military type guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have any flashy moves. He doesn't really have flashy hairstyle. He has kind of a pseudo look that people compare to Logan Paul. But for the most part, even his skills feel very plain for most people when you're comparing it to a lot of the characters that happened right before him, you know? And, I didn't really think much of it. I'm like, oh, I think he was just hyping this character because how bland he technically looks,
mm-hmm.
and, outside of some things. And over this last couple of years, actually, the last couple of months and stuff, I've seen several announcements. One of the starting ones, which I didn't pay no mind to until just recently, was the Street Fighter 6 teaser. shows Ryu, your classic dude, broody, the guy we grew up with, the guy that's like, can no one fight me for a worthy challenger, blah, blah, blah. And this boastful, egotistical young guy that nobody really talks about. That's the newest of the new character. He is the newest character. There's no one newer than him.
Mm-hmm.
He was the latest character. He was released. Nobody really makes much waves with him or anything. Nobody talks about him too much. And he's a lead character in this teaser? What?
Oh, okay.
And, like, you can see Ryu kind of exasperated a little bit. Like, he's kind of huffing in. Like, he's kind of met a good match in a way, and he just comes in, kind of shakes it all off. He's like, let's go, some more, like he's ready to do some more.
Mm-hmm.
And, at first I didn't really think of it. I'm like, okay, it's whatever. They're trying to wrap everybody together. And then they just did an announcement with Brawlhalla. They announced and added characters. They added characters before with Street Fighter, with Cammy, Ken, Ryu, and Akuma. And they just added some new ones just this recently, and I think it's going to be live by the time this video gets uploaded, with M. Bison, Dhalsim, Sakura, and Luke. So, like, well, all right, we'll back that up. Classic characters. All of them. From the original Super Nintendo characters. Because Sakura came in 3. Because Sakura came in 3. Everyone else came in from 2. And then there's Luke, who is literally, by this point in time, 6 months old.
Okay.
What? Like, people kind of make jokes about it, but now I'm looking back at what he said. He said it's going to be the future of Street Fighter. And the more I look at it, now I'm looking at the way the character acts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The dude acts boastful and loud.
Mm-hmm.
He's youthful. He's in everybody's face. He's a fucking zoomer. He's a zoomer.
Yeah, okay.
And when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh my god. We liked Ryu because he was all silent and broody all the time, because that's basically the way our generation was.
Mm-hmm.
So when he said that's what he's doing, I'm thinking it's because he's starting to build a way to pass down the torch to a new generation of fighters.
Oh, okay.
And in that wake, they're using a character that's very boastful to attract a new generation of gamers.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, like, that's the future of what. And then when you think about it, that's probably why the logo of Street Fighter 6 looks so different. They're trying to change things.
Okay.
Now I went on this rant. You obviously didn't say anything about it, so I'm just gonna say
I have no idea what's going on. But
like, yes, yeah,
yeah.
So
I'll let you go, but I'm like,
just let him go.
I have no idea.
Say words.
I have no idea.
But yeah,
anything about what's going on in Street Fighter.
Yeah, no, I honestly think if anybody looks into it and kind of looks back on it, they're probably going to be like, dude, you might be right on that. Because I'm like, it didn't dawn on me until that Brawlhalla thing. Like, it was like, okay, neat. And I was like dismissing it. And I made jokes about the new Street Fighter logo and all that with everybody else.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Brawlhalla thing, I'm like, but why Luke? There's other characters all the way up to this point.
I don't know. But I'm thinking they could just chicken out and like, hey, here's young Ryu.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they've tried that before with Sean and Sakura before, but obviously they were just trying to make a young Ryu and a young Ken with Sean and Sakura, and it just didn't work. And like, all right, we're gonna keep going, And that's actually, I think, one of the reasons why we didn't see 4 for many years until later, much later. But I do think, going all new with the way Luke is, like, Luke isn't a Ryu. But you still have a Ryu. So I'm thinking it's a way to, like, you have your old fans still going, okay, I have my character, I have characters I'm familiar with. I'm still signing on to this. Mm-hmm. Now you have new guys that are like, dude, this dude's pretty badass. He's from the military. He's loud. He's in your face. Just like me. I kind of want that stuff. I want to be in people's face. He's an MMA fighter, and MMA is really popular right now. So I do think that's what at least Capcom's going to attempt. Like, obviously, if it fails, they could just lean back and pull out some new old characters and stuff.
Just do it like King of Fighters, or like how, because King of Fighters, the way they were able to pull it off was because they had all these characters from other games. So even if like their main character isn't like what is it, like they'll try a new lead and then like, oh well, he didn't do well, but he still trended really well. Let's just give him his own game.
Well,
So,
the King of Fighters was more like a collective thing.
Yeah.
Of all their other fighters. Street
Yeah.
Fighter isn't a collective of other fighters. Like, they're why
no,
do
no,
that?
I know.
You know? Like,
Then if Luke doesn't do well, just like, oh, Luke has his own game.
no, I don't think Luke will get his own game and his own unique fighter game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that's what Capcom will do. Luke is a Street Fighter.
And so they're just gonna fall back on Ryu
So
then.
I think what's going to happen is they're probably going to pull a Capcom storytelling thing and go Street Fighter 7 takes place before 3 and after 4 or some bullcrap
And this is
like
about
that.
Luke.
No, like that way it goes back to Ryu. Like if Luke doesn't work out.
Gotcha.
But I think
I don't know though, because like if you really push something off on somebody, they're gonna like revolt, I guess, because they're gonna really want to demand it.
No. It really depends. Like they did that with 3. That's why nobody really liked it. They're like, why are you giving me girl Ryu? I don't want girl Ryu. And then like they're like, all right, well here's Ryu still, and here's 4 in 10 years. You know?
Yeah, that's what I get
Like-
with Luke then, because if they're gonna really push,
Well,
Ryu
Luke
for
isn't Ryu. Ryu's there. That's the thing, is they're making Luke new, so that way, like when they come in, they go, okay, my Ryu's still here. Who knows who else is in there? Maybe I'm willing to bet Chun-Li's going to be there. I'm willing to bet maybe Ken's going to be there. You know, I could rattle off of maybe a handful of other characters that are probably going to be very iconic. I don't see a lot of the characters from Shadaloo, so Sagat and stuff like that, eventually going away.
I don't know. It's a fighting game. Why do they need continuity? Just make them younger.
No, but I think that's why, because I don't think, like, let's be honest, like Capcom knows the newer generation doesn't want broody guy.
Yeah.
Like, they know. And the fact that Luke even exists the way he looks and acts, they're aware. They are beyond aware that Ryu is not going to pull a zoomer. You know?
No, okay.
They'll need new blood. They'll need new blood, but they'll need characters that new blood relates to. You know? They can't just go, well, this game's really good, but nobody wants silent, I'm looking for a challenge Ryu all the time. Especially not zoomers.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going on right now. Is like, it was kind of a weird symbolic version of that teaser where Ryu's kind of tired because he's been in 6 of them so far.
Yeah.
Maybe even more when you count all the other things like Tekken versus Street Fighter and all that. You know, like he's been in so much. Like him being exasperated is like symbolic to the fact that he's been through some shit. You know. And Luke is this fresh dude who's like ready for more and he's boastful and stuff. And honestly, I could see him being very attractive to a lot of Zoomer gamers. Like Gen Z gamers. I can see that type of character being very, very popular among them. They won't be popular among us. I don't think Luke will be very popular at all among people like us. But I can see that happening, and I think that's why they're kind of like promoting them in various forms. So,
I don't know. It just gives me the vibe of New Coke.
Well, the thing is, like they can keep the reason why they did do New Coke because they saw that how bad old Coke is dwindling. Even now, sales for old Coke is still dwindling. Yes, it's major seller over everything else, but all of their soda is dwindling. All of them. I mean, it'll get to a point where maybe inflation makes it that's the only choice, and then it'll skyrocket again. But you know,
I don't know. I'll just curse this. Luke is for a mobile game. Street Fighter Mobile. Just watch.
But you know, he led in the 6, and the 6 has a new icon. So I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of heavy emphasis. I'm not going to say he's going to be like the sole proprietor. Obviously, there's going to be, instead of Ryu versus Ken, we're probably going to see Ryu versus Luke, new versus old, traditional versus innovation, or whatever. Like some kind of like symbolic way of the two
passing the torch.
Passing the torch of some kind. Yeah.
Okay.
Something very symbolic. I do think Ryu, among a small handful of others, will still be in like 7 and 8, and eventually like they'll fade away to these new characters depending on what they do.
Okay.
I'm just pissed they booted Crimson Viper to the side. That bitch was fun as hell. So, but that's what I think about it. How about you? Anything else?
Mobile game, right?
I could see it happening. I could see it just like Mortal Kombat. So
yeah.
But we'll probably address that if they ever announce that thing. So, but I think it'll be a good way to wrap this up now. I would like to thank you all for listening and watching and hearing
comment,
me rant. If
like,
you like our content,
thumbs up, remind us, share us.
Yep. And if you like our content, share us in any way possible. Don't forget to like, and if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. And we will see you on the other side. Hey everyone, this is Paraka.
And Ghost.
I would like to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our video with your friends.
You can also follow and support us on other social media such as Minds and Rumble. Links in the description below.